Welcome, everybody, to another amazing episode of 600 Pounds Down. I'm Coach Justin. I'm on with Coach George tonight, the most amazing Coach George in the whole wide world. Coach, glad to see you tonight. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing great. Um, it is almost Christmas. It's what, 2 days? 2 days till Christmas now.
Dude,
And dude, my presents are not wrapped. Um,
isn't I saw a meme come up on Facebook the other day that said men wait to the last minute. And it was like one of these things where it said something like, all right, guys, all right, men, it's almost Christmas Eve. It's almost time to shop. So it's not quite late enough yet. So it's almost time.
I will say I still have to get stocking stuffers for the kids. So I'm right there. I am right there. I got the big ones though. Like I got the big this is what I've been talking about for the last couple of months because my kids are 4 and 2, so it's like I want this thing, I want this thing, but I got to really pay attention because I have to be like, okay, what's the thing that they're talking about for the last couple of months? Because their attention spans will just kind of like bing, 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 bing all over the place. So I really got to pay attention. But I got my son what he wants, and my daughter's too, and she's gonna love anything I get her. So
There you go. Pretty easy to please, it sounds like. That's great. That's great. I'm pretty much I do after tonight, we gotta wrap a little bit of our gifts for each other and things like that. So we're gonna be doing that after this episode is live recorded. But man, I'll tell you what. So we are in that Christmas season. And here's the interesting thing right now, man. This is where Christmas is more difficult for me than Thanksgiving was when it comes to food, because there's a lot more treats, a lot more sweets, a lot more options of candies and cocoa and all this stuff. And so I wanted to talk about this today because this morning I got up and I went to the gym this morning and I had a hypoglycemic attack, a low blood sugar attack.
oh
And
wow.
I get those periodically. I'm not diabetic. My fasting glucose is great. My A1C is amazing. But I just get these hypoglycemic moments in my life. And I kind of traced back. It's so important that we trace our steps in our health and kind of remember, like, if you feel something new, if you feel, don't be a hypochondriac about it, but write things down, a new pain, a new, this feels different. Kind of keep note of that. It's good to do. As time goes on, you can say, oh, that was a freak thing, or that's a real issue I've been struggling with. And so I've been struggling with hypoglycemia once in a great while. And so I would go and, have these moments at the gym or walk outside, and all of a sudden my blood sugar would just tank. Well, I figured out kind of why. I'm kind of understanding how this has taken place and why. So yesterday was more of a day for me where I would, with my family, we made Christmas cookies yesterday. I had a half of a sugar cookie, um, but I didn't have much dinner after that. And it was kind of like, okay, I didn't get a lot of protein. I had some protein, but not a ton. And
Right.
then that night, we went to go look at Christmas lights, and I had some hot cocoa. I didn't have a ton of it, but like 3, 4 sips of it, and that was it. And it was a peppermint mocha actually from Starbucks. And so
Ooh.
they were tasty, bro. So I had four. I split it with my wife. We kind of split that, and I just had 4 sips. She had a little more, and we actually threw the rest away. But I got up this morning kind of feeling lethargic and just like sluggish. And I'm like, whatever, I'll go to the gym, knock it out, whatever. So I get there and I'm on like this elliptical. No, I'm on the arc trainer, a little different cardio today. And all of a sudden I get like this weird feeling. I'm like, I just know what's happening. And so I got the hypoglycemic attack. So now when I trace it back, long story short, guys, I know you're all like, are you still, if you're still listening, sorry about this so long, but I really want to talk about this. I find out that if I don't have protein with my sugars that I consume or any type of added sugar, then I'm going to have an issue the next day. And so there's actually a real disorder, a real condition, I should say. I forget what it's called, a something hypoglycemia, but it's because your pancreas produces a lot of insulin, more than it needs to at times, to make up for the sugar you're consuming. I don't eat a lot of sugar. So that could be one of the biggest reasons. I don't eat a ton of sugar. I eat mostly low carb, moderate carb, and then I don't really have any sweets, right? Like, it's rare to have a sweet. So when I do have them, my body's like, whoa, 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 calm down. So now I know when I do these things, I have to have a carbohydrate before my workout and a protein. So that way it stabilizes my blood sugar and I'm fine. So you kind of figure out, I'm my own doctor in a situation. Anyway, I don't know if you ever had a hypoglycemic attack, but those aren't fun. Blood sugar issues are not fun.
Dude, there was this one time I was doing this one program, and I mean, this was a while ago. This was like almost a year and a half ago now, and I was doing this program, and I was crushing at the gym. Like my lifts were high. I was reaching new heights, if you will. And I get done, and I stand up from doing tricep extensions on the machine, and I stand up, and I'm like seeing spots.
Ooh,
I'm seeing spots. Like the room is spinning, and I'm just like, what's happening right now?
yeah.
Like what is going on? I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what it feels like to almost pass out? Am I about to pass out right now? And so these two guys, John and Shaq, they come over and they help me to the chair, and they're like spotting me fast acting carbohydrates because they're trying to get my blood sugar back up, and because I just crashed, dude. Like I was just, I mean, I went down like the Hindenburg, and it was crazy. It was nuts. So yeah, I mean, I've experienced that before, but like, and it's the same as you though too, because I comparatively, like when you look at my diet, I'm only eating like 18 to 25% carbohydrates as well. So like I'm not having that much that many carbs. I don't have that much glucose. Like really high protein. But I also do a good amount of fat too. So I'm not used to crashes really hard because I'm not always like eating a ton of sugar. Now, I've had my days, anyone who's known me the last couple of weeks, I've had my days, but usually I'm actually pretty even keel.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's scary when you have something new happen to your health, like when you see stars or when you have moments of like you're dizzy, you're lightheaded. It's like, all right, this is kind of funky. And then yeah, you need some sugar sometimes, like orange juice, apple juice, grape juice, honey. I took honey with me. That's how I felt better. I just grabbed some honey packets that I take with me, and it's amazing. Like they work out well when I use them. So it's good. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting, especially around this holiday season. Remember last year during Christmas, it was actually Christmas Day, I think. I had this quiche, and it was mostly white bread with some protein. And then
Oh
like
wow.
I went out and played football afterwards. And then I threw the ball, and we kept throwing the ball back and forth. And all of a sudden, I got a hypoglycemic attack, and I had to come in and have some sugar or honey or something like that. So yeah, I'm very sensitive to how my body responds to those things. All right, George, I think it's time to get inside this conversation tonight. We're gonna start here in a moment, friends. This is our final episode of 600 Pounds Down. Sadly, just want you all to know that it's been fun. It's been a wild ride, but 2025 is coming, so we'll have another episode there. But wait,
You're unbelievable.
doesn't that mean?
You're
We either have
unbelievable. What's
two
wrong with
options from that, two responses from that. We have finally these guys are going to stop talking, or we have that really stinks. You got me. So I don't know which one, but oh, look at this. Look at this. We got Emilio in the house. Blessings family. Go Eagles. Emilio, yes, go
Yes.
Eagles.
I,
But
I suppose.
yeah, George will just agree with us no matter what. The Eagles ended up losing to the Commanders on Sunday, which hurt my last feeling, George. It really was sad, but it'll be okay. We'll come back. We'll come back. It'll be amazing. All right, George, you want to get started? Do you want to get into this with me?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about, something that I think is so important with first off, with success in your health and your wellness, success in your spiritual life and your mental health. And that's community and friendships. And it's a good time to talk about this. And I want to share tonight reason why this is a subject is because first off, George and I have a history as friends. Interesting how we met. We're talking about that here in a minute. And then, of course, having each other's backs and accountability and things like that really helped spark our endeavor, sparked our journey to become healthier. Some people like to do this thing alone, and it may work for a season, but I'm promising you it's not going to last forever unless you have a solid foundation in a community or a friendship with some people. So I'm excited to talk about that tonight, but we're going to talk more about that here momentarily. George, you have anything else to say before we start?
I think what we talk about tonight, when we start unrolling and unraveling this concept, I think it's going to become more and more apparent how essential this is, not just for you personally, but for everybody else in your life. And just like you were talking about, long-term success. This is what we look for. We don't look for short-term gain. We look for long-term success. And it's not a linear progression either. You're going to have your hills, you're going to have your peaks, you're going to have your valleys. But this one aspect, I think, is going to put us over the edge.
I love it. That's so good. Put us over the edge. You heard that, friends. Over the edge. And this is good when it comes to health. Be over the edge with it. I will say before we jump in, make sure you seek us out on an actual platform. We're not just on Facebook or Instagram. I promise you we're on platforms like Apple Podcast, like Spotify and YouTube. If you just seek us out, type in 600 Pounds Down podcast, you'll find us there. Please be a dear friend. It's a season of giving, George. It's a season of giving. It's Christmas. What is one Christmas gift you would love?
I would love a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And you can give Justin a 4.9 because apparently when we did the Spotify wrap up, it was only 4.9 stars. Coach Justin.
Really sad. I don't know how we got a 4.9, but you know what? I wish we can erase the reviews and just never mind. That's wrong. That's cheating, friends. We're not going to cheat about this, George. Let's just get on with it. 600 Pounds Down live right here next. See you soon.
And I was given a death sentence at the age of 16. I became a slave to food and to fear. 799 pounds. 799 pounds. But here I am today, 600 pounds lighter. And I'm here to share my story with you to help you improve, to help you find your way, and to help you become a more motivated person. I'll be your inspiration. Here we go. Let's do this.
He's been on the Today Show, The Doctors, in the National Enquirer, and in newspapers and magazines all over the country. Don't miss the 600 Pounds Down podcast featuring Justin Willoughby.
Yeehaw. It's time to hop on the horse. It's time to talk about the amazing community essentials tonight for your health, man. It's going to be important that we hit this up. So moving on into this, if you are watching this on Facebook Live right now, I would love it if you came in here and just said hi. Just put a comment, hello, let us know you're watching. Some of you want to be silent, totally understand, but it'd be cool to have some interaction there. Definitely share this right now. If you are watching, we'd appreciate the share, get the word out there. Again, it's our final episode of 2024. So if you just want to get people to come in and watch, that'd be great. But George, talk about friendship, man. I'll tell you what, I have so many stories on how relationships, friendships, community has transformed my life. It transformed my faith. It transformed my health. It transformed my mindset. It's quite amazing on how things work when you do things in a community setting or in a friendship setting. You go further, you do more, you're stronger. Two are better than one, right? We know that. It's just essential, I believe, 100%. So when I say friendship, what comes to mind to you?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to mind is support. You know, is this a person or are these people that are going to support you? And obviously we want people to be able to check us if we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing. So, I mean, friendship is not just unlimited compliance, right? Or just no matter what you're doing, they just agree with you, right? That's not what we're talking about here. Obviously, if I have a buddy who's messing up, I'm going to be like, hey, buddy, you're messing up. Like, let's get back on track. But if it's something that is actually good for you, if this is something that is important to you, and it's good for you, it's good to be doing, it's good to have, and I would say that the people who come alongside you and support you in that, I would say that is something that can't be replaced.
That's good. You know, I had before Christ, before I had an authentic relationship with Jesus. Actually, it was during my relationship with Jesus. Let me take this back. Oh man, this is embarrassing now. So I had a girlfriend over at one point, and this is my brothers. My brothers would hold me accountable, right? My brothers in Christ hold me accountable to this. And I had a girl over, and I was home alone with her, and nothing was going on at that moment. Okay. But we had Josh Hatcher on our show back in the day. And, you know, he was the one that would knock on my door and said, hey, Justin. And while this girl was over and he knocked on my door and said, what are you doing? Oh, I don't know what's going on. I didn't even open the door. I kind of put that little screen guy up, like, you're not coming in here to see me. Like, don't come in here. Like, yeah, yes. What's the password type thing? And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, he goes, "Is she here?" And I said, Yeah. Why don't you guys come over to my house instead? I don't want to, man. No, get out of here. Like, but he came and he just like he invaded my territory. And at the moment, I was mad, right? I was like, "Get out of here, bro! Like, don't even think about it. We're not doing anything." And I think we ended up going to his house though, because I felt guilty. But
Good.
it's good.
Good.
It's good. Yeah,
Good.
right. It's good to have someone in your life though that is willing to have the guts, if you will, to actually go in and get up in our grill and ask us and say, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on? And you're better than this. What are you doing?" Right. And I think it's important to have those relationships, because if you don't have those relationships, then it's easy just to slide by and really not have any type of roots in right or wrong or accountability, right? There is something called right or wrong. There is something that should be in friendships called accountability. We should love each other and desire a relationship with each other enough and trust each other enough to be up in each other's grill in a respectful manner, of course. I'm not going to come up and be like, "Tell me everything, what happened, what'd you do, whatever." I mean, if you want to tell me that, you certainly can, but I'm certainly going to hold somebody to a higher standard because they're my friend and I love them, right? So you ever had an experience like that, George?
Yeah, it was actually when I got to college. When I ended up getting into college is when I really started making those like long lasting friendships. I was always kind of a loner in high school, and didn't really have. And my high school was huge, by the way. Like my graduating class was like 700 kids, and we were the small class. I mean, I basically went to a small college in high school. But when I went to college, I came back to Jamestown, New York, and I met some of my friends I'm still friends with today, uh, long lasting, long time friends, forever friends, if you will. And they would challenge me. They would challenge me. They would encourage me. I was not a good student. I just want to put this out. God bless my dear parents. I was, dude, I want to say my first year of college, I got a .9 GPA. My first year of college, I didn't even have a one in front of the point. It was literally .9.
What's wrong with you?
I majored in cafeteria, and I majored in student union life. I would literally go into the school, go through the building where my class was, and I would go into the student union and just sit there and do nothing for an hour and 20 minutes. But my buddies were like, "Dude, you gotta go to class. Like, you gotta go to class, man. What are you doing? You're like, what? This is how you want your life to be marked. You call yourself a Christian, you're being this irresponsible. You're being this disrespectful to your parents, to the school, to the money that is involved here. Like, bro, you gotta step up. You gotta get going." I'm like, I did end up finishing college. Um, let's just say I got the degree. All right.
Okay.
Let's just say, but they pushed me. And no one ever likes to get pushed in the moment of pushing. No one ever likes it because you're being confronted with something you're doing wrong. And we don't like to be wrong, Jay. We hate human beings don't like to be wrong. And we most certainly don't like to be told that we're wrong. And so that's a real crush to the ego. That's a real hit to the ego. And I just, that, I'm 30 now. Like the biggest thing to me is my integrity as a man. Like I've been, there's this great podcast called Manlyhood. Been hitting that up. That's been phenomenal. Josh Hatcher puts out fire stuff. But the sitting here as a 30-year-old man, and the integrity that I want to build, a lasting integrity, that in my decision making, in my interactions with people, so that way I don't have to second guess myself. Like, did I do that? Did I do this? If you're intentional every day, you're intentional all the time. So like, if I can be intentional today, if I make a decision to be intentional today and I make that decision every day, then I never have to second guess myself if I did something, obviously I'm not perfect, but I'm never intentionally doing something against my integrity. And that was something that got instilled in me by my friends. And I will say by my dad growing up, but by my friends too in college when they were like, "Dude, you got to shape up or ship out. Like, what's wrong with you?" And guys are just like, "Bro, stop messing up." It's like, a girl will ask her friend, like, "Am I fat?" And she'll be like, "No, no." A guy will ask his buddy, like, "Hey, bro, am I fat?" He's like, "Dude, I know 5 fat people and you're 4 of them."
That is so true.
You know?
That's so true. It's sad, but it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true. So integrity. I love when you talked about integrity there, right? Like it talks about, you want people to guide you through this life. You need people to kind of carry you at times and hold you accountable to having good integrity. I think it's missing a lot of times in our cultures today is the integrity aspect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who are you? And I know I even struggle with this. Keep in the face of health and wellness at times, right? It's like the integrity of that is just in, some of the things that I do behind the scenes. Like if I want to go and if I'm tempted by the ice cream and always give into it, is that showing good integrity? No, I'm not practicing what I'm preaching. I'm all about practicing what I'm preaching. And you'll never hear me say, stay away from all this stuff. I'll never say that to you. There might be a season where you will deprive yourself from it for a purpose, right? But not necessarily stay away from it the rest of your life. I'm a believer in moderation and periodic treats, not cheats, but treats, to have part of your daily, or I should say weekly, potentially monthly routine. So integrity does play a part. Exercise. Like if I sit down and I'm not exercising, I feel like I'm failing because here I am preaching on exercising, right? And I need to be doing that. If I'm injured or something, I still need to be doing something with my arms, or if I'm injured in my upper body, my lower body, right? Like always find something and hold the integrity piece. And it keeps me on guard, keeps me on point. And I think it's important we all do that. So I do love what you're saying there. George, when we met each other, so y'all are going to be hearing how George and I have met, how we've met. We've said this before on the podcast episodes. I'm not sure which one, but we talk a lot, so can't remember everything. But I'm trying to remember the full story. I think I met you in Jamestown, New York, I believe. I think it was in your neck of the woods or close to it. And it was through a mutual friend, Larry Petrie, which we're trying to get him on this podcast someday. He's like a mutual friend of ours, and he's a cool dude, and we really like to have him on here one day, and I think it'd be great. So Larry, if you're listening to this, you are going to be coming onto the pod. Just let you know, no ifs, ands, or buts. But we met through him.
Yeah.
And I don't know, were you volunteering for Youth for Christ at that point?
So I actually remember vividly the first time we ever met.
Okay, do tell.
Yeah, it was in the summer. I was volunteering at Gary Free Methodist Church at the time. I think I was either a ministerial candidate or I was about to be, and Larry was the youth group. Larry was the youth pastor there, associate pastor. And okay, 600 pounds down. Listen up. This dude in June rolls up in sweatpants. And I'm thinking, I've never met this guy in my life. Now I knew, Larry was like, yeah, he lost some weight. Like, you know how he does, Oh yeah, he's lost some weight. I'm like, okay. And I was just like, well, okay, this dude is rolling up in June with sweatpants. And then I remember how obnoxiously happy this guy was. Like he just had like the joy of the Lord if he took 10 grams of creatine every day. And
exaggeration city right here, but keep going.
But because I remember when we met, because I was actually on my way to the biggest I'd ever been. Health and fitness was the furthest thing from my mind.
If I remember correctly, real quick, I think you had Mountain Dew in that point. You were Mountain Dewing a lot.
I was Mountain Dewing.
And you were Fat George, and I was semi-fat Justin.
Well, because this was before your skin surgeries too. Yep. So like the reason I want to let everyone know, but the reason he was wearing sweatpants is because you had all that loose skin still, and you weren't able to wear anything really but sweatpants, and which totally understandable. Because I think at that point, what were you? I mean, you had lost what 400?
Lost about 500 almost, maybe 520, 500. Yeah.
I was gonna say it was over 500 pounds. You had already lost, and I mean the skin was still there. So, but like I was 52 ounce Mountain Dew in a day. I was, it was just gas station, 7-Eleven torpedoes, it was crazy. And so I really didn't want to hear anything about your journey in particular because it would make me feel really guilty, and I didn't want to feel guilty. But like I remember you being a really cool guy, really nice guy, and and here's the thing, bro, you didn't judge me for my weight. you know, and that was something that you never did to anybody, you know. I mean, you were probably, even at that point, I mean, this was before the 600-pound loss, but I mean, at that point, I mean, if there was anybody that I knew of, knew personally, that could literally walk up to any obese person and say, bro, you need to lose weight, it was you. And you didn't do that. All you did was, you didn't talk negatively about other people, you talked positively about yourself. And I think that's the direction that we need to go. Like, that's the direction we go here on 600 Pounds Down.
Yeah.
We don't say you should do this, you should do that. We're just saying, look, if you want to feel better, go this direction. And if you want to feel better and go this direction, yes, you're going to lose some weight, you're going to be healthier and all that other stuff. But like, we talk positively. And I think your personality and wanting to talk positively about your story instead of imposing negativity on somebody else's story is really the driving force behind everything we do here at 600 Pounds Down. And so, I mean, that was the first time I ever met you, and just your physical like appearance like convicted me. Like, you didn't have to say a word. You didn't have to say a word, because I'm like, your physical appearance was conviction enough to let me know that I was screwing up. And this was, what was I? 250 at the time, maybe. So I would have gained another 60 pounds past the point where you first met me. But I mean, this was back in like 2013. This was or even maybe even 2012. Maybe even 2012. I think it was 2012 actually. So we've known each other for going on 13 years.
Yeah. So, and then appreciate those words, by the way. That's I didn't know all that. So you find things out through 600 Pounds Down, friend. So if you're listening, that was personal stuff. Like, that's real. I met George. I thought he was a fun guy. You know, he just liked to have fun. He was definitely a great helper. He liked to assist. Just fun and outgoing, right? And George, you didn't have a care in the world, dude. You just wanted to bless the teens that were there. You wanted to help out with whatever you can help out with and serve in any capacity, which was really cool. So definitely a servant's heart. Definitely, you didn't care about the size of your body, at least not to my knowledge. You're just like, I'm here to serve, here to help. You know, give me the Mountain Dew. We're here. I'll hold all night if I have to on the caffeine and sugar. You're good. So it was really cool to meet you. But then coming to know you further, you know, we went to a Lecrae concert together. That was fun with Larry. I think it was a birthday. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Knew you didn't like the car ride there. We stopped at McDonald's. I think you got like 1,000 chicken nuggets or something. I forget. But
bro, dude, I guarantee you. Oh, that was back in the day of the dollar menu. Oh yeah. I might have went ham on the dollar menu, man. I might have gone ham on that.
Yeah, you did. I don't remember it vividly, but I do. But then, you know, we didn't see each other, and I think we saw each other at Larry and Elisa's house for, you know, 1 or 2 times after that. But we kind of lost connection. You know, I thought you were a cool dude. You thought I was a cool dude, and you know, we just basically like just had a mutual respect for each other. And then I think we became Facebook friends. And then I don't know how we came about with doing a 600 Pounds Down podcast. I think one day I just invited you. Oh, I saw your post of you losing weight. That's what it was. And you were doing the keto OMAD, I think 1 meal a day thing or a keto thing. And I was just like, this is crazy. I don't remember you looking like you've lost a lot of weight. I think I messaged you, and I think you invited you onto a podcast episode. Is this ringing a bell?
Yeah, no, I actually vividly remember this as well. I was sitting at my kitchen table. It's the creatine. The creatine helps the
cognitive function.
But I remember you reaching out and be like, "Hey, you want to be on this podcast?" I'm just like, "Really?"
Like a giddy little schoolgirl. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a podcast, like, but yeah, I mean, yeah, because this was in
2022 or 20. No, it was like a year and a half ago, I think.
I was gonna say, this was after I started lifting, because I had lost the weight before I started lifting. I think I started lifting. Okay. And I started lifting, and I remember sitting down, and it was just like an interview type podcast too. Like, we had no intention of like this co-hosting. This was not even a thought. I mean, it was basically just like, hey, this dude lost a lot of weight. I know this guy. Hey, you want to come on? Sure. Yeah, let me go on. And we kind of did the podcast. And if I remember correct, and this is not boasting and like me or you or the team or whatever, but I mean, comparatively, I think to the prior, because I think you told me this, to the prior 4 episodes before you and I think our ep got like twice as much reaction, 3 times as much reaction as the rest of them. And people were commenting like, hey, these dudes are really cool. They're really, the flow back and forth is good. Justin has really good things to say. George is funny looking.
Yeah, we're looking at the part of that. That's absolutely correct.
But yeah, and then just kind of kicked off from there, because I think it was actually you that approached me. He's like, hey, you want to? I think it was just like, hey, you want to come on another episode? You know,
it was One Step Live. We went on One Step Live.
Yeah.
When we had One Step Nation, which was the old 600 Pounds Down. We just rebranded as 600 Pounds Down. But yeah, we have One Step Nation, and I would invite George on One Step Lives. This Facebook groups and things like that we have was called One Step Nation. Now it's called 600 Pound Down Community. But yeah, that's what it was. I invited you on. We just had a good mix, a good rhythm with each other. You know, we connected well. We could play off each other pretty well. We could be funny if we wanted to be, you know, laugh at each other. And we just had a connection about fitness. And it was just really good. And so it's amazing to me how, you know, and this is a lesson, right? Who we meet today may come back into our lives in 2 or 3 years from now, may come back into our lives 10 years from now. So it's always wise to, number one, be nice to everyone you come across. Number two, don't look at people as an inconvenience, but as a convenience. And then always have good, you know, try to just have good intentions and try to know people well and try to make a connection and just be intentional. And I tell you, it really goes a long way. In fact, we have the 600 Pound Down podcast happening. We're on our third season actually. So we're doing pretty solid with this whole thing. You know, this is amazing. And we have season 4 coming up here soon.
That's going to be tight. That's going to be fire too. Like, you guys thought season 3 was good. You have no idea.
It's like,
no idea.
Season 3 is like, I don't know. It's like the appetizer menu. It's just like, okay, the dollar menu. It's good stuff. There's a lot of good guests and a lot of good things. But season 4 is going to have a lot more intentionality behind it. We're going to be talking about mindset a lot more. We're going to be talking about overcoming food addiction. We're going to talk about all sorts of things that have to do with combating negative thinking and comparison and addiction and all that stuff, right? That's important that we hit on that, because it's a 90% head game when it comes to health and fitness, 10% physical. I said that. I'm not afraid to like repeat that. 10% of it's physical, 90% of it is mental, and you have to get that through. We got some comments coming through, George. Do you guys find that there's been a change over the last 5 to 10 years? It seems like now telling someone to get healthy and doing it out of love is fat shaming. Everyone should be accepted for exactly how they are. That is really deep, Ben. That is really deep.
All right, Ben. I have opinions, Ben. I hope Ben is ready to hear my opinions.
Ben's always ready to hear opinions. He's good.
So I actually have I have very firm opinions when it comes to the body positivity movement. There's a difference between the body positivity movement, and then there's something over here that I would like to call just being happy with yourself. Okay. So the body positivity movement, I think, has been hijacked as an excuse to do nothing. There was a reel that I saw on Facebook the other day, Jay, and it was talking about all these people who were doing body positivity podcasts, body positivity models. They were, you know, healthy at any size and everything. They all passed away. Unfortunately, they all passed away. They all passed away from conditions brought upon by I'm talking excessively overweight, like where you were at before this whole thing. And I think that when it comes to, I don't think fat shaming is a good thing in any regard. By the way, I'm not advocating for fat shaming whatsoever. What I do want to say, though, is if someone is extraordinarily overweight, we need to be able to say, based on science and out of love for the person, that is not healthy, right? It's just not healthy. Now, what you do with that individual, what you do with that is completely up to you. I don't really have skin in the game, if you will, when it comes to another person's health and fitness journey, unless I'm their trainer or a nutritional advisor or what have you. But I I think we need to be able in today's day and age to be able to just say facts and let the facts stand as facts. Now, if you are morbidly obese, Jay, you were at 799 pounds. And you said this before, like you weren't happy.
I wasn't.
You weren't happy. I mean, and that's not a secret. I mean, you said that.
I hated who I
Plethora.
was. I hated
Right.
who I was. I did not like who I was.
And I've said this from every time we've had someone on. The weight is just a visual representation of what's going on in here,
Mhm.
of how you view yourself,
Mhm.
right? And it's just that vicious cycle. I'm unhappy. I'm going to eat. I'm eating. Now I'm unhappy that I'm eating. So I'm going to eat some more. And yes, I think over the last 5 to 10 years, if you simply just say that person is not healthy, that person needs to lose some weight, then the culture is going to come at you and say, well, you're fat shaming, you're fat phobic, or whatever. And this is one of the things that I think we have going for us, Jay, is that we were both overweight, visually, visibly, statistically, and scientifically overweight. So it's like, I would like to think that us in particular have a certain voice that can maybe peer through the cultural shaming,
Mhm.
if you will.
Mhm.
And obviously, I mean, if you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time, we're nice dudes. We're not angry. We don't dislike. Well, we're not. It's like,
You're
I'm the
fat
guy that's
shaming
been-
everybody right now.
I was gonna
so-
say I've been fat shaming for the last 5 minutes. But we're nice, courteous, and we're just trying to help. And the whole message behind what we do is you don't have to be that way. Because I want to say, here's what I want to say too. This will be the last thing, and then I'll get off my soapbox. But I want to say, and I feel pretty confident in saying 99%. I think 99% of people who are overweight, if they had a choice to not be overweight, would choose to not be overweight. I really do. I really believe that. I really think that, because if I was given the option of you can either stay overweight or lose the weight, I would want to lose the weight every time. But here's the problem. I didn't know how. I didn't know I could.
Yeah, that's good. And saying this, Ben's following up here, making a real generalization, but the YouTubers and podcasters who are glorifying being morbidly obese are not truly happy with themselves, but the movement almost forces them to push it as a positive instead of starting point to get better, instead of a starting point to get better. It's glorified, right? It's a world that says you do you're okay with who you are, don't change, stay the way you are. You were born this way. You're a product of your environment. I mean, you can say all the things, what truth is, what truth isn't, and that you figure out. But it's almost like it's a license to stay the same, to stay stagnant. And we're conditioned at a young age to believe something that we see on TV, like it's okay to be this, it's okay to be that, it's okay to be this. And it's like normal. And I think the world becomes more and more okay with pushing those boundaries and what's the new normal. And then you kind of forget about what was the normal. And looking at the new normals today, is it really satisfying individuals? Is it really bringing satisfaction in life? Is it really bringing life to the full? Are we really having a hard time, or is it causing more mental health issues? Is it causing more, just like George, kind of what you're saying, is it causing more people to not truly be happy, but trying to find happiness in all the wrong places? So I do see that as an issue. I see us, grasping for acceptance and not wanting to change. I see people, like Ben is saying, people are overweight and I'm just going to stay this way. I'm okay with who I am. This is who God made me to be. I'm going to stay this way. I don't have to get healthier. And the truth is, I think that's a cop-out because you don't want to face the hard truth of this is not honoring God with your body. If you're overweight if you're overweight because of poor choices, there's a problem. There's an addiction, or there's a lack of understanding of what you should put in your mouth and what you shouldn't put in your mouth.
Absolutely. Okay. And, I think when people say who are The easiest choice is making no choice. Yep. So 2 things. One thing, Jay, I think this is important. When people say, because you're like, I'm okay with being like this, I hear I'm trying to be okay with being like this because I don't think I can change.
Bingo.
That's
Bingo.
exactly what I hear. Like, oh, I'm okay with this. I think you're trying to be okay with it. I think you're trying to, like where you're at. And I think the word diagnosed is being overused and overstretched. Because if you are diagnosed with something, that then implies that you cannot escape it. Or no, I'm sorry, not diagnosed, disease. Disease, that's the word I'm looking for. If you're diagnosed with a disease, like they're trying to put obesity as a disease. If you have a disease, therefore it is something now imposed upon you instead of something that you self-imposed. And so now, if it's a disease, then I have no control over it. Therefore, I can't change. Therefore, the guilt is gone, and I can keep doing whatever it is that I want to keep doing. And I would wholeheartedly disagree with the fact that obesity is a disease. I think that for most people, just like you were talking about, Jay, I think it's poor choices. It's poor choices. It's easier to keep doing what you've been doing than to try to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a big thing to make a big change.
Yeah.
And for me, that was getting married and looking down the road to seeing and having kids. For you, it was not dying, at 16.
Yeah.
But if you have a disease, you seek treatment. If technically, yes, true. If you have a disease, then you should seek treatment. Unfortunately, in the sphere that I think we're talking about, it's used as an excuse to just accept and move on.
Yeah.
Man, we were not going to go in this direction today.
No, it's interesting. And it's part of life, right? It's part of. No, I hear that, and and then that's why going back to the friendship thing at hand, right? It's going back to friendships and going back to community. Mm-hmm. It's important to have a circle of people around you, a tribe, a group, a pack. You call it whatever you want. Have it around you, and have people be able like check in with them. Speak into your life and have accountability, right? And that's a word that most people don't want. They don't want accountability. They want to just be able to do what they want to do without any type of repercussion from what they're doing. But I'll tell you what, if I didn't have accountability, George, if I didn't text you periodically about my weight or about my exercise, I may fall off a little bit. I may get discouraged. I may go do stuff that I may not need to do, right? It's just important that I talk to you and I talk to Larry and I talk to Josh. Y'all are my friend circle. I have some people here in Texas as well I could talk to, but I would say you all are my friend circle that I could talk to with fitness and health and my spiritual life, my mental health. But it's easy to go to you guys because I know you'll set me straight. I know you'll love on me when I need loved on. I know you'll pray for me if I need prayed for. And I know you'll call me out if I need called out. Like, you don't always have to say, call me out directly, but even a really nudge, you're right. You need that in your life. So if we have more of that, but what's really challenging people to really get into an authentic relationship with people now? It's this thing, right? It's like, I'm just gonna,
oh my gosh,
text my friends. I'm gonna live on my reels. I'm gonna live on the socials.
Oh my gosh.
And we count that as real friendship. And here's the thing. I'm not against social media. I'm not against having friends on socials. I think there's an avenue there of relationships that can be real and authentic. But I will say this, it should never take place of in-person relationship, because over socials, you see what I want you to see. Mm-hmm. You hear what I want you to hear. But if you ask me, how's your soul? Oh, actually, I haven't read my Bible today. Actually, I haven't prayed to God in about 4 days. Maybe just a little wing prayer. Thank you for my meal. Have you really been giving your all at work? Well, you don't know that I am. It looks like I am, right? So looking at that, you don't have to know anything when I'm on socials. I'm just going to give you my view of the ground, where if I met you in person and talked to you more than once or twice a week or something, or once a month, then you would see the aerial view and everything, right? You'd see the ground, you'd see the sky, you'd see it all. And I can't hide from it. So it is important to have relationships, and some of it online is fine. I'm not, I mean, George, you and I are friends online and over the phone. We have not been in the same room in probably over 5 years.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Actually, I probably
So-
talk to you the most throughout the week.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen you in person in half a decade.
Right. But we also have our people in person we could go to and hang out with and call, right? They both are valuable. It's both valuable. I'm thankful for social media and text messaging and phone calls and FaceTimes and Google videos and things like that, because we can see each other. We can talk to each other, but it should never take place of the authentic relationship you can have in person.
So, I put out that reel. Was it this week? Last week. It was last week. Remember that reel that I put out with the inner monologue in the car?
Yeah, and everybody called you, see if you needed a hotline.
That's crazy. Like, it's crazy. No, I'm not gonna lie. My personal life is a little. I'm on the struggle bus sometimes, but all things considered, I think I'm doing all right. But I thought to myself, I'm like, if I'm having these thoughts, let's make this relatable, because I'm not the only one thinking like this. Sometimes I'm not the only one with these thoughts in my mind. So basically, go to my page. It's a reel of me in the car, inner monologue reel. I think it's got like 1,000 views now, actually. Did not expect it to get that many, but basically it's me in the car. It's like, oh man, life's, and you can hear my voice. Oh, this life's so hard. When the life gets so hard, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I'm stressed out. I'm tired all the time, blah, blah, blah. And I post that. 5 minutes later, I get a phone call. Hey, are you good? Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, look, I'm good. But it just made me think, and I had people comment on the video like, hey, because I meant it more as a like commercial for mental mindset stuff that we're going to be dropping in the new year. But there are some people who thought that I was like being legit serious about my personal life, and so they commented on the reel like, hey, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be like, okay, thank you, appreciate it. But it wasn't the point of the post. It was more of a commercial type feel. But then I got to thinking, people don't vocalize these things as much as they should. Like, everyone got all concerned when they heard it with their ears. But more than half of the time, I think when people ask, they don't really want to know. Like, when people say, how are you doing? And they know what's going on with me, you kind of get the vibe of, okay, they're just doing a classic conversation starter. Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. Part of me sometimes I just want to bust out with like, do you really want to know? Do you really want to know how I'm doing right now?
Right.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But people got all concerned. And I think that anyone with, and I'll just talk about men in general, because I'm a man, and men don't really vocalize their feelings much. Any man worth his salt would have thought about anything I said in that video at least one time this week. At least once. One thing, one time, at least. And I'm lowballing that. So how important is it to have someone in your life, or have people in your life, to be able to actually say those things out loud to, and they listen to you? See, we were coming back around. I took the long way around.
Okay.
But how important is it to have people in your life to be able to say like, how are you doing? And they actually want to know. I have friends of mine, Eric and Heather. So if Eric and Heather are listening to this, like, I'm name dropping you, they ask me how I'm doing, and they actually care to listen. Let me tell you right now, man, Heather, she's freaking fierce. Like, she is a fierce woman. She, I really appreciate her reaction sometimes, but they actually want to know, and they actually want to listen, and they do listen, and they care. And sometimes Eric will just text me out in the middle of nowhere, and he'll just be like, hey, just wanted to see how you were doing. Wanted to see if you wanted to check in. And a lot of the times when he does that, I really need someone to check in with. So, get your people, because if you keep living in your head is a very lonely place to be.
Mm.
You know, no one else lives there with you.
Yep.
No one else is there to check you. You could spiral very easily. You know, invite other people in the house.
Yeah. 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 It's definitely has to be an intentional thing too. I mean, we can't, a lot of times friendships don't come to us naturally. Authentic friendships don't. It takes work, right? And we know we have to put in work to make friendships thrive. Just like in our faith, if we're going to get closer to Jesus, we have to pray, we have to go to church. And church can be with several other believers at the same time. We're not ready to go into a corporate worship setting yet, but at least getting together with some other believers and talking about it, talking to each other, sharing life, things like that. And then of course, praying and reading the Bible, right? Like that's, you got to get to know God. Your spouse, if you get married or if you're dating someone in hopes to marry them, what do you have to do? You can't just hang out once a month. And it's like, okay, you're just an acquaintance then, right? You got to actually get to know them and have the same pursuit of people. Like, I want to get to know you a little bit more. I want to get to find your interest. I want to get to know who you are as a person. What are you like? What don't you like? How do you react if something crazy happened? Like that, get to know people like that, right? You get to know, then you can help them and support them with your strengths, and they can help support you with their strengths. It is a good trade-off. Ben said this, and we're going to have to wrap up here momentarily, but finding that close group is definitely a tough one for me. Been stabbed in the back a few times, so I tend to put up a wall. Yeah, that's real. That's real.
That's real. That's real.
The few I have now, I know will be there, good or bad, and it makes all the difference. Yeah, that is a tough thing when you've been hurt in the past by other people, or if you've been, backstabbed, if you will, or whatever. Yeah, it's hard to trust again. It's hard not to get upset about, hey, I have nobody around me, nobody I can trust, and that just means that wall is there for a reason, really. It's because you were hurt, you're wounded. But the good news is, as time goes on, it kind of heals those things, and you can figure out legit. Like, first off, people are people, George. They're gonna hurt us, willingly or unwillingly, right? It's gonna happen. Some intentional, some unintentional. But if you can get past that part of understanding we're not perfect people, and there will be moments where you have to probably put the forgiveness hat on, and in some cases you might not. You might just have to say, I forgive you and I'm walking away from this. I can't answer those. But I will say, sometimes the one bad apple can ruin it for the bunch, right? And we don't want that. So I would encourage slowly tiptoe back into the friend realm. I know you got friends right now, Ben, and everybody listening, you got friends, but it's always good to expand your territory as well, and continue to add more to your family, if you will. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I do want to, George, I want to take the rest of our time. This is a lot of, this is kind of off the cuff tonight. We didn't really plan any particular route of this. It was simply just it's a conversation piece tonight, just to talk about the importance. My takeaway from this is this: you and I really thrive in friendships. People thrive in friendships and relationships. And they can be with 30 different people, or your top 3, your top 2, right? But it's good that man should not be alone. And we need accountability. We need a group of people with us. We need a tribe to run with, to have the biggest success, to hold us accountable, to motivate us, pray for us, and help us in our time of need, and help them in their time of need. We need each other. And we thrive more than just us. We need others. And what's your takeaway tonight, George?
It's the older I get, the easier it seems to be to kind of self-isolate. I heard this quote the other day, and again, I'm just talking from a man's perspective, just because I'm a man and it's just kind of easier for me. But most men die at 30, but get buried at 80. And the older I get, the easier it seems to be to kind of withdraw. Go to the gym, go to work, come home. And I do find myself having to push to go and be around people. And it's quite the dichotomy in my mind, because, on one hand, I just kind of want to be alone. On the other hand, like you said, Justin, it's good. Friends are good. Being out is good. Being around people is good. And so I do find myself having to push my own self to go out and do stuff. So here's an encouragement from someone who understands the struggle to just kind of self-isolate, not be around people. I will say be around the right people. Don't just go out and just be around people. But go out and be around your friends. Now, your life might be busy. Like my life's busy. I get it. So maybe my social life, it looks like going to church on a Sunday morning and seeing all the people at my church, and they love and care for me. I've gotten to know my pastor really well, Pastor Nate Ladd. He's an awesome dude. He actually was. He might end up coming to the gym with me at some point here. But he's been fantastic, and there's other people that I know that have just been phenomenal people, and I might not always get to be around them as much as I want, but I know when I am, they're there, and I know if I need to call, they'll be there.
Yeah.
So that would be my encouragement.
Get you some friends like that. That's what we need. Yeah. Now for the non-serious comment. The contrast is amazing tonight, Justin, and all the out Christmas. My background just like he's in a cemetery with log rolling in. That it's like the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Seriously. So here's the thing. I am a rock and metal head. My aesthetic, it comes through. So Justin is actually. I do have colors, right there.
Blue.
I have colors right here.
Spotify.
There's color. I have color. I'm not like, it's right there. It's pretty.
Can you just show him the shirt? Just show him the shirt.
Okay, here. So this is my shirt.
Papa Bear with a Santa Claus hat on. He's got a little Christmas going on.
This is the PJs that my kids got me one year for Christmas. Well, my kids, they were like 1 and or 2 and.
They bought them for you at Walmart. They went in, cashed out, did all things,
Bro, they're so cute. They probably stole it and got away with it.
I love it. Yeah. So, George, let's as our final 5 minutes here. Let's talk about what's coming in 2025.
Dude,
I think this is going to be. Everybody gets pumped at the end of the year. They're like, 2000, the next year is going to be amazing. It's really going to be amazing, though. We're not just saying this. We always say it, but today we're actually not just saying it. We're actually meaning it.
Guys, we have put so much legwork into 2025 already. I mean, we started putting in legwork, Jay, a couple months ago. We really started 2 months ago we started brainstorming. A month ago we really started. I mean, we're really putting stuff together to really take 600 pounds down to the next level, really. Yeah. We are being incredibly intentional about bringing you guys some serious, well thought out content. Jay, I'm going to let you go ahead and roll. What do we got coming out?
Yeah, dude. So we have a new podcast season dropping next year, right? Not that far from here. And the season 4, and it's on mindset. And it sounds like what can I learn from mindset? It's not talking about weight loss, really. Not talking about muscle building, really. No, it is actually, but it's hitting a different direction with it. It's like, let's get the mind right, which then will impact health and wellness in other areas. And we're still going to talk about fitness. We're still going to talk about wellness and muscle building and fat loss. But man, we definitely want to hit the mind just because we want to set you all up for the success that you need, that you want to have. But it doesn't happen if you just kind of blindly walk into it and not knowing where you're going to put this thing and not where you're going to do this. We have to know why. We have to overcome the addiction. We have to know what it's like to stay committed. We have to know these things or we're not going to succeed. So we're going to share with you, both of us will share with you what it takes, how to do it, to get to that healthy place in your mind. You're going to learn a lot on the podcast. George, we have a free program coming up. It's the January Reset program, a daily video where you get to hear a challenge of the day to get your mind right, to help you prepare for a 2025. It's going to kick tail in your health. Both of us, George and myself, will be doing some videos on that. Every day you'll get an opportunity to watch a new one for 31 days. And then those of you who want to be very serious, we're going to invite you to the coaching meetings that are once a week that you can come into for January that are absolutely free, part of the January Reset. Dude, you're probably going to steal the show there, dude. You get really psyched about those things.
Well, so here's the thing, too. What we're offering for free, other people charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to do that. And look, we are so passionate right now about what we bring to you guys. We bring our best. We bring our best to you guys. We do our homework. We know we try our best, and we're learning to know what we're talking about here. So when we come to the January mindset reset here, when we have those videos done for you, like these are intentional, like start your day off well type content. All right. It's like Justin said, it's completely free. Sign up, right? This is not just stuff we're just dropping into the 600 pounds down group. If you are in the 600 pounds down group, register for this. You're going to get a free video in your email, and it's going to be fantastic. And listen, come to the coaching meetings. It's absolutely free. Ask your questions. This is your opportunity to ask us a personal question in your life, and maybe we can help you. And here's the deal. We want to help you. We want to give you those answers. We want to be that for you. And we are trying to create environments where we can literally look at you through the through your pixelated eye and say to you, here is my advice for you, because we care about you. We love you guys. And guys, I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying it. 2025, our year, baby.
Yeah,
let's get it done.
It's gonna be great. We're gonna do good. And then one last thing. Well, there's more, but this is what we're gonna stop on. We're talking about creating some premium content. So meaning that it will be content that is charged to visit it and to look at it and to actually participate in it. And it's high quality stuff. Right now, I'm unable to. Just gonna be real with you guys. I coach at Energize Health, a fantastic company based out of California. It is virtual. It's very promising. EnergizeHealth.com. I coach for them right now, and I'm coaching hundreds of people through them right now. And actually, right now about 100, but I have coached probably almost 1,000 people through Energize Health. So what I'm waiting for on this is working with Energize Health to kind of come up with something along the lines of what's not a conflict of interest, right? Because they're my primary employer, and so I want to honor them, and they want to help build me as well. And Energize Health is something I would check out. Again, EnergizeHealth.com. Go view that. You can look more upon them. But I'm waiting on them we're going to have a discussion about what this looks like. But premium content is something we want to deliver to our audience, our fan base, that is going to help you. Really, George and I have been talking about it, like a program that'll help you lose fat and gain muscle and just become a person you're more confident as, right? It's going to be overcome food addiction, overcome gym anxiety, right? All the things that we struggle with. That's coming. And we want to work on that stuff, but we're working on the logistics of it to make it something that's going to be with integrity. I want to make sure I honor integrity with my employer. George is the same way, but be looking out for that in 2025.
We're talking about workout programs, nutritional suggestions, wellness day platform programming. I mean, we're checking all the boxes, guys. You're not gonna want to miss out on this. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be good. So, all right. That being said, Ben said, "Merry Christmas, guys. Looking forward to everything that's upcoming." Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for checking us out tonight. It has been a fun night. I love just hanging out with George. Next time. We will be back. Oh man, what's the date? The second week of January. I believe it's the 6th. January 6th, I think we'll be back. That's not too far away after Christmas. So those of you who are looking forward to launching their January in a good way, January 6th, baby, we're going to be coming at you with some new information and a new theme. Finally, a new theme to the podcast. Another intro, a different intro.
You are more excited about that than anybody else. Because it's I'm actually in it. I'm actually in the intro.
Love it.
Oh, man, it's going to be great.
Shout out to Josh Hatcher, who helped me with the first intro. Phenomenal stuff. He does a lot of content creation. Pretty good. Got to definitely check out Josh Hatcher, Manlyhood. And then we had Christy come in and say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Christy. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
For saying that. All right, George. Anything else you want to end it on? You want to end on anything tonight? You want to say anything?
Look, guys, we're here for you. If you want to be a part of the movement, it's a click away. Join the group. Get involved in January. Let's start the year off right.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time
on 600 Pounds Down podcast.
And I was given a death sentence at the age of 16. I became a slave to food and to fear. 799 pounds. 799 pounds.
799